Okay, good morning and happy Diwali. Today's class will be little shorter. It will be less than half till एक घंटा सवा घंटा class होगा, and then I will have to go because in office we have puja right now. ठीक है, तो you are welcome. Uh, Now we have to start with the last part of the interwar years before we enter World War II. And that last part is the foreign policy of Mussolini and Hitler. How that step by step led to the beginning of World War II, outbreak of World War II. Before going there, we have one small topic left, and that is in the far east, on the Japan side, Japanese imperialism. पहले उसको cover कर लेते हैं. Now, I don't know how many of you have consumed Western movies, Hollywood movies of olden times, where they used to depict the Japanese, Chinese, Korean, or overall East Asian people in a specific racist line. देखा है आपने ज़्यादा? That was the time since the mid of 19th century when Japan was opened up and lots of Japanese started to migrate to America. And even before that, the Chinese started to do in 1820s, especially with California ka gold rush. A lot of Chinese people, labor started to go to America, especially America's western coast, सियाटल से लेके कैलिफोर्निया तक जो वेस्टर्न कोस्ट है उसकी बात कर रहा हूँ. तो huge amount of migration from Asian side took place. Even from India, we know entire Ghazar movement happened in फर्स्ट वर्ल्ड वॉर. ऑन दी वे सैन फ्रांसिस्को में गए थे और गदर मूवमेंट वहीं से जारी होती, तो कहाँ से वहाँ पे इतने सिख पहुँचे? बिकॉज दे नीडेड लॉट्स ऑफ लेबर. So it was the Asian and Southeast Asian and East Asian who provided them that labor. It created certain kind of anxiety amongst Americans, and that was a typical racist anxiety. It was a mix of xenophobia and racism both. And you not only see that in America in politics, but also गली गली में, सोसाइटी सोसाइटी में, चौराहे पे, सब जगह डिस्क्रिमिनेशन शुरू हो जाता है. We have, for example, the segregation in schools. कि भाई if you are Japanese people, you sit separately. If you are white, you sit separately. And that happens not only in America, that starts happening across the European world also. Take Russia, for example. There is one Russian author who coined the term called yellow peril. ये इतने सारे येलो, मतलब येलो इज अ वेरी रेसिस्ट टर्म. दीज आर द जापानीज पीपल हु आर लाइक, एक बीमारी है और सब जगह फैल रहे हैं, एपिडेमिक है, येलो मिनेस, येलो पेरिल, एटसेट्रा. So such was the portrayal or characterization of Japanese or overall East Asian in West. And it is not only in the context of those people who migrated into those countries, it is also in the context of imperialism. वो ये था कि कोई रशियन ऑफिसर ने बोल दिया कि ये पीले लोग हैं, इनके पास ना अकल है ना भेजा, सो लेट अस ट्राई टू गो एंड कॉन्कर द रीजन. These are animals or animal like people. So such kind of depiction of inferiority of some race, because we know that in the late 19th century the European perspective was highly racist. The Aryan invasion theory is also an outcome of that racist perception. But anyway, so you have such kind of justification of imperialism based on you being inferior stock as animal like and we being superior. So it is our duty in the civilizing mission to come and teach you. It is our duty in case of Darwinism to come and destroy you. जैसे भी देखना चाहो. So justification of conquest was also given by European societies by characterizing these people as yellow peril. तो दोनों तरफ है, रेसिज्म भी है, xenophobia भी है. एंड यू सी वो शुरू कहाँ से होता है? ओके, सम ऑफ द रूट्स डेफिनेटली लाई इन यूरोपियन सोसाइटी, बट जापानीज पीपल ऑल्सो स्टार्ट इंट्रोस्पेक्शन कि भाई हमने क्या बिगाड़ा था आपका, व्हाई आर यू पुटिंग अस इनटू दैट लेवल. एंड दे आफ्टर लॉट ऑफ इंट्रोस्पेक्शन रियलाइज कि ना, दिस इज हैपनिंग बिकॉज वी आर वीक. वी आर वीक. हमारे खुद के क्या बोलते हैं उसको, बलबूते पे हम खड़े होते तो शायद ये नहीं होता. That is a kind of perception that is reached by both Japan and China at that time. In mid in 19th century, end of 19th, वो जो 50 साल है, उस 50 साल में both Japan China realize कि भाई not only we are demeaned in West, but also we are getting enslaved. Europeans are coming and taking our region as parts of influence. They're opening up us and they are dividing us as loot and booty. तो ये नहीं चल. So what is the solution? If you don't want to become like India, which is colonized है, वो तो उनका इंटरनली भी है. हम इंडिया की तरह खराब नहीं है, हम कुछ ताकतवर है. तो वो भी look at it in a way. Just before coming into class, I was reading one news where in Singapore there was a hoarding. इसके बारे में कंट्रोवर्सी हुई है. होर्डिंग सेज ऑफ सम रेसिडेंशियल एसोसिएशन कि इंडियंस हैप्पी दिवाली, लेट अस सेलिब्रेट इट, बट डोंट फॉरगेट टू क्लीन योर लिटर आफ्टर दैट. बाद में सफाई करो. मतलब इंडियंस ऐसे लोग हैं जो कूड़ा कचरा करते हैं. दैट बिकम वेरी कंट्रोवर्शियल बिकॉज इट इज इंटरप्रिटेड एज अ रेसिस्ट स्लैंग, है ना. तो अब किसी ने कहा उसको हटा देंगे हम, तो कूड़ा कचरा तो चलो अलग बात है. बट पॉइंट इज दैट देयर इज सम इंटरनल हायरार्की ऑलवेज. नॉनदलेस यू सी जापान एंड चाइना, बोथ ऑफ देम गेटिंग exposed to the West, both of them understanding their own weakness, and both of them trying to modify that. But the two responses come differently. In case of Japan, Japan goes for the complete westernization, complete modernization, complete industrialization, and we have seen that story already under Meiji Restoration, where you have political change, economic change, and all those things. We discussed about Zaibatsus and everything. And that brought radical change in Japanese society. So much so कि लड़कियों ने बाल लंबे, जो उनका एक परंपरा थी इतने बड़े लंबे बाल हो, अब बॉब कट करना शुरू कर दी, स्कर्ट पहनना शुरू कर. तो पूरा जापान आउटवर्डली कंप्लीटली चेंज हो गया इन अ मैटर ऑफ 2-3 डिकेड्स. उसके कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस बाद में आए बात करेंगे. ऑन दी अदर हैंड वी ऑल्सो हैव चाइना विच वेंट अदर वे राउंड. चाइना ने कहा अगर हमें वेस्ट का मुकाबला करना है, वी हैव टू बी मोर चाइनीज, more authentic original Chinese. So originally China started with empowering herself by inventing, or rather trying to discovering its own traditions. दोनों तरफ काम ठीक से नहीं हुआ, neither in China nor in Japan. Both of them shifted gears afterwards. China started to accept westernization and Japan started to go back to its own culture. वो ट्रांजिशन जो हुआ है, जापान कंप्लीटली प्रो वेस्ट टू प्रो ट्रेडिशन एंड चाइना कंप्लीटली प्रो ट्रेडिशन टू प्रो वेस्ट. वो ट्रांजिशन दोनों कंट्री में एग्जैक्टली साथ ही साथ होता है. नॉनदलेस दे ट्राई टू अपग्रेड देमसेल्व्स, एंड दैट अपग्रेडेशन कम्स वेरी फास्ट एंड उसके कई सारे कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस होते हैं. वील सी द स्टोरी ऑफ चाइना सेपरेटली. वी हैव टू सी दैट एज अ बैकग्राउंड. आफ्टर 2 lectures we have one complete lecture dedicated to Chinese Revolution. At the beginning of that lecture, I will discuss in detail about what happened in 100 years before revolution in China. तो काम करेंगे. Come to Japan. So Japan, we have seen that already it started industrializing. Industrialization in Japan came very fast. There was no liberal democratic idea there. It was completely state-led. We have seen that whenever you are late industrializer, आप state-led होते हो, and because of that, certain kind of distortions come into picture. So it is a state in Japan that promoted industrialization, that got education, that sent people outside, brought investment, brought technology, and then created PSUs and handed them over to private families. Families कौन से थे? Those old samurai families or the feudal families. They bought all the industries. So these new families, Mitsubishi, for example, now these people have finance because of the old tradition, and now they control industries also. Generally इन दोनों में झगड़ा होना चाहिए था, old people, new people. अब ये old people ही new people बन गए. So you have that kind of concentration of monopoly capitalism emerging in Japan. जैसे ही ये होता है, people have industrial control, people control production, people have money, they have connections in government, they try to influence government policy as per their requirement. So you see the say of these families increase in government. They want now colonies. So we have, because of their influence, Japan going on colonization. The nearest coast for Japan is couple of islands, and after these islands you go to Korea. तो जापान का पहला टारगेट होता है हाउ टू कैप्चर कोरिया. जापान इज लेट टू द पार्टी. जापान इज लेट टू द पार्टी. ऑलरेडी लगभग सारी दुनिया बट चुकी है अलग अलग कॉलोनीज में. अब जापान बाय 1890s जगता है. वो कहता है कि चलो मैं कुछ करूं. एंड जापान को बहुत ज्यादा ये भी, जापान हैज एक्सपीरियंस दो अनइक्वल ट्रीटीज. Unequal treaties we have seen in the case of China also, and in the case of Japan also. We see when Perry went there, Commodore Perry, and opened it. The treaty was signed कि treaty में ये port open करो, extra territorial rights दे दो. So this is like signing away your sovereignty. जापान को जख्म है उसको भर के निकालना है. ऐसे कर. तो जापान का first objective in growing is that it should not get colonized and it should be treated as equal in the world at par with Western powers. And for that क्या करें? We should get industrialized, and secondly we should also be colonial power. आपकी कॉलोनी है, हमारे भी कॉलोनी. But in the course to get a colony, Japan's interest will collide with the interest of other nations and imperial competition will take place. तो पहला रीजन जापान को जो चाहिए वो है कोरिया. आई होप यू नो द मैप वेरी वेल. व्हेन यू सी कोरिया, so this is Japan, this is Korea. तो फर्स्ट रीजन जापान ट्राई टू कैप्चर इज कोरिया. कोरिया में इंटरेस्ट किसका है? चाइना का एंड रशिया का. और चाइना रशिया ऑलरेडी हैव इंटरेस्ट इन कोरिया for one or the other reason which we shall see in some time. So for Japan to capture Korea, he has to defeat both China and Russia. तो पहले दो यार, जैसे ही चाइना एंड रशिया आर डिफीटेड, जापान बिकम्स पावरफुल. हु गेट्स अफ्रेड? यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स. कि भाई ईस्ट में तो सबसे पावरफुल ये वो तो नहीं चलेगा. तो एवरीथिंग फ्लोज इन कनेक्शन. लेट अस सी द कॉजेस ऑफ जापानीज इंपीरियलिज्म फर्स्ट एंड इन द स्टेजेस. So Imperial Japan causes. The roots of Japanese imperialism can be traced to the mid 19th century when the country embarked on the rapid modernization, that is Meiji Restoration. This period of intense social, political and economic transformation aimed to propel Japan into the ranks of the world's great powers. And Japan is an incredible country. I am telling you, everybody has seen. Recently Narendra Modi talked about it. कि जापानीज एंड जर्मन लोगों ने इतना काम किया था, हम क्यों नहीं काम करते उतना घंटा. एंड ही हैज सेड इट इन स्पेसिफिक कॉन्टेक्स्ट. इन केस ऑफ जापान एट लीस्ट वी हैव सीन दैट हैपनिंग ट्वाइस. वंस पुट अंडर एक्सट्रीम प्रेशर एंड फियर ऑफ कॉलोनाइजेशन एंड फियर ऑफ आपका हश्र वही हो जाए शायद चाइना का इंडिया का हुआ, आपका ना हो, तो विद इन मैटर ऑफ वन जनरेशन जापान क्रिएटेड द होल न्यू कंट्री ड्यूरिंग मेजर रिस्टोरेशन विद इन वन जनरेशन. एंड देन it participated in World War I, World War II. World War II, it was again completely destroyed. Completely destroyed. After World War II, it again recreated itself. Again within one generation. That is fantastic. Although there was some role of America's funding as well, but that was relatively minuscule. It is the value system, the orientation, the attitude of people. एक जनरेशन के अंदर दोबारा richest country in the world हो गया, third richest country. उसकी कहानी अलग, वर्ल्ड वॉर 2 के बाद देखेंगे उसको. जनरल मैकार्थर की कहानी है पूरी. बॉम्बे के बाद अलग. यू नीड टू हैव कॉन्टैक्ट, यू नीड टू हैव स्ट्रॉन्ग होल्ड इन द ईस्ट. तो आई वॉज रीडिंग दिस बुक, रास्ते पे खरीदा था बहुत पहले, मेड इन जापान बाय कौन था, सम वन ऑफ द फाउंडर्स ऑफ सोनी. देयर यू गेट टू नो द स्टोरी हाउ जापान रोज एज फिनिक्स आफ्टर वर्ल्ड वॉर 2. And now here also Japan rose as phoenix after opening up from the feudal to modern. दो बार उन्होंने 19th century में one time and second time in 20th century. 100 साल के अंदर दो बार पूरा देश बनाया उन्होंने. So that is an incredible story. But anyway, come back. So the Meiji Restoration of 1868 was in fact economic revolution which was triggered off by the entry of Western capitalism into Japan. We have seen that industrialization and Western capitalism. But that happened in a distorted fashion because feudalism did not go completely, it married with capitalism. With the Meiji Restoration, the feudal economy was abolished and modern capitalist economy emerged in Japan. This is in a very traditional sense. Now it depends on where you stand. This term can be questionable also. If you stand on the Lenin side, then you will say it was not abolished, it modified into capitalist economy. But anyway, Japan lacks sufficient natural resources. You need raw material, so therefore you need a colony, you need a market, therefore you need a colony. So these are the typical same reasons of why a country would go for colonization, because you go for capitalism, it requires raw material and colony. For every country we have seen this reason 10 times so far. कोई नई बात नहीं है इसमें. Then second point is Japan emerged as an imperial power after 1868 more as a product of modernization than of native tradition. Like the Western imperialist powers, Japan too looked for colonies and jumped into the fray of an international competition. तो तब तक तो काफी लेट हो चुका था, so it had to fight with other people. But बात ये है कि it was not the tradition of Japan to be such aggressive and imperialist. Japan was for at least couple of centuries before this point of time an isolationist state. हम ठीक है, अपना आइलैंड ठीक है, ना बाहर जाएंगे ना बाहर आएंगे. That was not always true. That before 17th century, 16th century, Japan was very much connected to mainland China. Although they developed their own culture, their own language, or their own script also is quite different, but there was cultural lend-in, cultural give and take. Why do you think that Japan became partly Buddhist? Because the monks in India went to Central Asia, from Central Asia they went to China, from China they went to Korea, from Korea they went to Japan. Connection तो शुरू से था. But by the time of 17th century they become isolationist and not at all aggressive. Against that very nature you see Japan now change. तो इतना national character रातों रात change हो गया. That is fantastic. Then achieving equality with the West was one of the primary goals of major leaders. That the unequal treaties should be repudiated as soon as possible. And they tried to do that. I have one example over here. There was one mission called as Iwakura mission. It was a kind of ambassador sent by Japan to Western countries to try कि भाई देखो ये extra rights आपको मिले हैं, गलत है. It is 1871. It's been 20 years. We are now getting powerful. So let us delete those additional wrong treaties. Treat us with equality and respect. But what did West say? We had discussed. Do you remember that right of extraterritoriality? आपको याद है? Do you remember this? क्या है? For the citizens of the Western countries, when they travel to Japan as merchants, as traders, as administrators, as whatnot, even for example, the Christian missionaries, so they would not be subject to local laws of Japan. They would be treated as per the laws of the Western countries. So, although the territorial sovereignty is supposed to be of Japan, वहाँ पे एक्स्ट्रा टेरिटोरियल राइट लगेंगे, तो अमेरिकन लोगों के ऊपर अमेरिकन कानून चलेंगे. सो अपने ही देश में अपने ही जमीन पे अपने ही कानून आप नहीं चला पाओगे. दैट इज एक्स्ट्रा टेरिटोरियलिटी एंड दैट इज नथिंग बट योर sovereignty is getting away. You're no more a sovereign country. You can't have your own law. Own parliament doesn't work. And कई बार होता उल्टा था. Not only that, let us say American trader is sitting in some city in Japan, उसको जापानीज कानून लागू नहीं होगा. Whomsoever he comes in contact with, even that person, if that person is Japanese, उसके ऊपर भी अमेरिकन कानून चलेगा. Whomsoever that person trades with, अमेरिकन कानून चलेगा. तो हो गया उल्टा. अमेरिकन लीगल एनक्लेव्स क्रिएट हो गए, ब्रिटिश लीगल एनक्लेव्स क्रिएट हो गए. सो विद इन जापान differently there is legal plurality and different countries are running their own कानून, and that is completely humiliating. तो जापान ने कहा भाई इसको हटा दो. So the Western powers insisted, however, that they could not revise the treaties until Japanese legal institutions were reformed along European and American lines. तो बोले आप, तो this is the Western idea. हमारे कानून सबसे सुपीरियर है. वी आर द मोस्ट सिविलाइज्ड पीपल इन द वर्ल्ड. यू हैव टू चेंज. अगर आप बदलो हमारी तरह हो जाओ तो हमें कोई दिक्कत ही नहीं है. तो एंड इट इज पार्टली रेसिस्ट ऑल्सो कि आपको गवर्नेंस नहीं आता है, विल टीच यू हाउ टू गवर्न. So efforts to reach a compromise ultimately failed. But that was Japan's one of the major objectives in 1870s. And जब वो नहीं complete हो पाया, जापान turned into imperialist power. And then उसने कहा कि आप हम पे जो ट्रीटी करते हो वैसे ट्रीटी हम किसी और पे करेंगे. एंड फिर दिखाएंगे देखो हम भी पावरफुल थे. तो You have that also one of the major achieving equality with the West. That is a very important reason for Japan's imperialism. Then nationalism and pan-Asianism, that also is an emerging point. A strong sense of nationalism emerged in Japan during the Meiji era, fueled by belief in Japanese superiority and desire to restore the country's historical greatness. And this is very interesting. Now, once Japanese feel they are getting inferiorized by the West, अब जापान उल्टा खुद बोल रहा है कि हम सुपीरियर है. यू आर नॉट आस्किंग फॉर इक्वलिटी एनी मोर. नाउ यू आर सेइंग कि वी आर सुपीरियर, हमारी परंपरा, हमारा देश, हमारा जो कुछ है. सो वी हैव अ काइंड ऑफ टर्म फॉर दैट. इवन आई कैनॉट स्पेल इट ऑल द टाइम. इसका स्पेलिंग है निहॉन जिंद्रॉन. निहॉन जिंद्रॉन. So it is an approach to Japan's own civilization. कि हमारा great past. So Japan's ideology of national superiority and past greatness has collectively been termed as Nihon Jinron. And our language, our culture, our food, our tea culture, tea part, जो कुछ है सब कुछ सबसे बढ़िया है. And that nationalism fueled कि हम भी superior है, कैसे we can become imperial. And not only nationalism, that led to kind of pan-Asianism, Asia for Asians, that led these Europeans get out. So in terms of racism of Europe, Japan has come up with its own reverse racism. That is an interesting thing कि हम छोटे नहीं है, हम equal भी नहीं, हम बढ़िया है. So Japan has its own type of reverse racism and that kind of, but उसको हम नेगेटिव तरह नहीं देखते because India also benefited from that. You know, in India, it is all happening at the time of Swadeshi movement. Japanese painters came to India, Japanese people visited Shantiniketan, and we also felt, अच्छा, Asia for Asians, हम भी कुछ है. So Japan also had inspired Indian national movement to some extent by becoming powerful. So we have Asia for Asians, Pan-Asianism. Then you go for international rivalries. So you have these rivalries between Japan and China, Japan and Russia, Russia and Britain. That competition went on to fueling this imperial idea. You have militarism. Now this is interesting. So far what we have discussed is rise of monarchy, which is becoming a national government, and side by side we have rise of zaibatsus, the feudal capitalist class. अब एक तीसरा प्लेयर एंट्री करता है. The third player is army. And that becomes a very strong interest group within Japanese political structure. And overall, all three of them are asking for arms race and militarization, but army more so. So the Meiji government invested heavily in modernizing the military, creating a powerful force that could support Japan's imperial ambitions. Military played a significant role in shaping Japan's foreign policy and promoting expansionist goals, so much so there came a point when the king of Japan said no more invasions of neighboring countries. तो किंग को साइलेंट किया गया, चुप बैठ तू. द प्राइम मिनिस्टर ऑफ जापान सेड आई डोंट सपोर्ट सच पॉलिसी. उसको असैसिनेट किया गया. वन आफ्टर अनदर प्राइम मिनिस्टर ऑफ जापान वर assassinated by Japan's own army in 1910, 1920, 1930. You will see दो तीन बार हुआ है. Anyone in civilian government spoke against imperial advancement, he would be assassinated because military became so powerful. तो हम जो आज देखते हैं पाकिस्तान में, वो बहुत छोटी चीज़ है. पाकिस्तान को और एक्सट्रीम ले जाओ, where military controls everything so much so it starts assassinating prime ministers when they speak against military's interest. That is the case that happens here because military becomes such a strong interest group. It's not a civilian government has no worth. But that happens not at the beginning, that happens gradually as you go in 1920s and 30s. Strategic interest. The Japanese military leadership sought to establish a regional hegemony in East Asia and Pacific, leading to the occupation of territories such as Korea, Manchuria, other parts of China to create a buffer zone and secure strategic position. This is strategic interest is always given as if it is a defensive idea, but it turns out always to be offensive. I'll give you two examples जो आप हर दिन सुबह शाम देख रहे हो. One example is Pakistan, Afghanistan. पाकिस्तान ऑलवेज फील अगर इंडिया हम पे हमला करेगा हम कहाँ जाएंगे, हम कहीं पीछे हमारे बैकयार्ड हो, कौन सा, तो अफगानिस्तान. तो अफगानिस्तान प्रोवाइड्स पाकिस्तान स्ट्रेटेजिक डेप्थ. सेम थिंग विद रशिया. रशिया ऑलवेज फील्स अगर वेस्ट हमला करेगा तो वी नीड टू हैव दैट डॉक्ट्रिन ऑफ स्कॉच्ड अर्थ पॉलिसी, तो वी नीड टू हैव दैट लॉन्ग डिस्टेंस फ्रॉम वेस्टर्न बॉर्डर. तो इसलिए हम ईस्ट एशिया को कैप्चर करें. ईस्ट एशिया शुड बी अंडर आवर कंट्रोल इज द स्ट्रेटेजिक नीड ऑफ रशिया, बिकॉज इट इज अफ्रेड. हिटलर ने हमला किया था, नेपोलियन ने भी किया था, तो हमें क्या यूक्रेन हमारे पास हो. ठीक है, तो स्ट्रेटेजिक. तो जापान इज सेइंग द सेम थिंग, बट अल्टीमेटली वी नो टुडे that Pakistan is meddling in Afghanistan, Russia is meddling in East Asia. Similarly, Japan, under same kind of lens, started to meddle in China. And then domestic policies, because whenever you have such kind of quick transformation of society, economy, it brings dislocation, dissatisfaction, some kind of conflict and tension within society. How do you diffuse that? By focusing outside. So we have called a term for it. वो टर्म क्या थी? इफ यू रिकॉल, सोशल इंपेरियलिज्म. याद है? कॉजेस ऑफ कॉलोनाइजेशन देखा था हमने, एंड कॉजेस ऑफ इंपेरियलिज्म, सोशल इंपेरियलिज्म. तो द सेम थिंग, टू डाइवर्ट द अटेंशन ऑफ डोमेस्टिक पब्लिक कि बाहर देखो, एंड देन यू देशभक्ति के नारे दोगे. तो इंजीनियर सम क्राइसिस ऑन द फ्रंट, ऑन द बॉर्डर, सो दैट अटेंशन गेट्स देयर. Social imperialism. So we have all these reasons collectively going towards forming of Japanese imperialism. So अगर आपको सवाल ये पूछा जाए what were the causes of Japanese imperialism, we start with Meiji Restoration and come till here. So we have listed all of them. ठीक है? Okay. I have bought this image of yellow peril you find in many places. Le Peril Juan. I think it is French, but anyway. So it is shown as if पीले लोग आ रहे हैं और वो कोई बुखार आ रहा है. That is the kind of racism. Now let us go to how Japan starts building the empire. So we have seen the things analytically. Now let us look at them chronologically. The first thing is that they captured some Ryukyu islands. Even today वो डिबेट चलता रहता है. By using some kind of fisherman's crisis, they capture Ryukyu Island, but that's a minor point for us, so we'll not go there. We'll go to the major thing. It happens in 1870s. Okay. We'll go to annexation of Korea. So Japan always had strategic interest in Korea. Korea was a major producer of rice and also provided कहाँ गए? Provided a good commercial market for Japanese products. However, in Korea, Japan's interests collided with those of China and Russia. तो पहले चाइना को हराओ, रशिया को हराओ, then only you can capture Korea. तो जापान started on 15-20 साल का पूरा लंबा प्लान, 15-20 years to get it solved. The first thing Japan did in 1880s only is to sign some kind of agreement with China. क्योंकि चाइना, देखो ये कोरिया है, this is China. China always saw Korea as its subordinate, as its tributary state, कि हमें हमारे गुलाम है. So any external party coming into Korea, China never liked. चाइना जैसे कि इंडिया है फॉर एग्जाम्पल, सोचता है कि नेपाल है, भूटान है, ये हमारे सबॉर्डिनेट स्टेट है. हम मानते हैं सोवेरिन है टेक्निकली, बट लुक एट द वे इंडियन एम्बेसडर्स हैव बिहेव्ड इन द पास्ट, in 1960s, 1970s, 1980s, sitting in Bhutan or sitting in Nepal, as if he is the, जैसे in the British era, Indians used to have viceroy. उसका जो गरिमा होती थी, उसका जो एयर ऑफ सुपीरियोरिटी होता था, वही होता था इंडियन एम्बेसडर का इन भूटान, इन नेपाल, आफ्टर इंडिपेंडेंस ऑल्सो. उस अहदे से बात करते थे. अब जैसे चाइना का राइज हुआ है, वैसे हम थोड़े से अपना टोन चेंज किया है कि नहीं, मिलजुल के, बिकॉज दिस स्मॉल कंट्री आर ट्राइंग टू प्ले वन कंट्री अगेंस्ट अनदर, उनको भी मजा आता है उसमें. सो सिमिलरली यू सी कोरिया स्टार्टेड डूइंग द सेम थिंग. Korea came to know it's a small country at that time and had three great powers on the three sides who were vying for influence. So Korea started to play China, Russia and Japan against each other. एक समय ऐसे आया कोरिया के वजह से चाइना और जापान में टेंशन बढ़ गई. Both of them decided let us have a treaty, and as per the treaty it was decided that if any one country, either China or Japan, sends army in Korea for some reason, it will inform the other country first कि मैं 10,000 सैनिक भेज रहा हूँ. इन्फॉर्म करो फिर भेजो ताकि डिस्ट्रस्ट ना रहे. And so other party knows, other country knows कि भाई you have not come to capture that, or we can take some steps to avoid future annexation. तो ये ट्रीटी हो गई थी. बट एक बार कोरिया में अचानक से कोई रिबेलियन हो गई, and to crush the rebellion Korea was not able to do anything itself, so she needed external help. अब किसकी हेल्प मांगेगी कोरिया? चाइना, because it is mainland connected, old connections. So China sent its huge army of 8 to 10,000 people to suppress the Korean rebellion on the request of Korean government. But China, following the treaty, informed Japan कि हम ये कर रहे हैं. तो जापान ने कहा अच्छा बेटा हम भी भेजेंगे. तो जापान also send equal number of सैनिक आर्मी ट्रूप्स इन कोरिया. अब दोनों ने लोकल तो सप्रेस कर दिया, दोनों सामने भिड़ गए. एंड दे सेड कि भाई लेट अस गो बैक, नोबडी इज विलिंग टू गो बैक. पहले आप चलता रहा, पहले कौन वापस जाएगा. दोनों नहीं गए, वहीं पे रुके, टेंशन बढ़ गया, युद्ध हो गया. दैट इज हाउ. बट वी डोंट नीड टू नो द स्टोरी व्हाई द वॉर प्रेसिपिटेटेड. But the war erupted in 1894, in which Japanese forces proved to be superior and China was roundly defeated. It then sued for peace. Thus was signed Shimonoseki Treaty. So, in that treaty, Japan for the first time defeats China. Now, what was in the treaty? Both sides recognized the independence of Korea. Na tera na mera. Earlier, Korea was understood to be the tributary state of China. Now, from that point, it has come to become independent. China ceded to Japan Formosa, Liaotung Peninsula, and Port Arthur. I think you should know all these things. What is Formosa? It's Taiwan. Today we call it Taiwan. At that time, in the colonial era, it was called Formosa. Where is it? It's over here. This part. So this part is Taiwan. ठीक है. The second was लियोंगतुंग पेनिनसुला. वो कहाँ पे है भाई? अरे नहीं. So this part is that लियोंगतुंग पेनिनसुला. ठीक है. And there they had something called as Port Arthur. Port Arthur was a big naval station जहाँ बड़ी नेवी थी. तो तीनों चीजें चाइना ने जापान को दे दी. It was too much, but anyway, China was able to force. China was also forced to pay huge war indemnity to Japan. This is a typical European style कि हमने खर्चा किया युद्ध पे तो हम वसूल करेंगे आपसे ही. China granted Japan all rights enjoyed by European powers. China made significant economic concessions, including the opening up of new treaty ports. So China was already under. Look at it from the China's perspective. China is already reeling under pressure of European colonization. Different parts of China are already opened up. वहाँ पे Japanese है, वहाँ पे German है, वहाँ पे British है, Americans है, French है, lot Russians है. All of them have come. और जैसे यहाँ से किसी ने नोचा, किसी ने वहाँ से नोचा. तो चाइना इज ऑलरेडी, उसके अब जापान भी उसमें ऐड हो गया. तो चाइना ऑल्सो फील्स एक्सट्रीमली ह्यूमिलिएटेड, बट दैट इज नॉट आवर फ्रेम ऑफ रेफरेंस राइट नाउ. वी आर लुकिंग एट थिंग्स फ्रॉम जापानीज पर्सपेक्टिव. ठीक है. सो एनालिसिस. जापान मार्क्ड इट्स ओन इमेंसिपेशन फ्रॉम द अनइक्वल ट्रीटीज बाय इम्पोजिंग इवन हार्शर टर्म्स ऑन इट्स नेबर्स. सो यू सी इट, द रिस्पॉन्स इज नॉट इक्वलिटी. तो वेन एवर यू सी सच थिंग्स ना, you will realize कि why India is unique and Gandhian ideas are so great in one sense, or Indian foreign policy to some extent. We never claim that. हमारा आर्गुमेंट कभी ये नहीं था कि हम आप हमको खराब समझेंगे, हम आपको खराब समझेंगे. नहीं. Anyway, Japan's overwhelming victory upset the power balance within China as well as on the international scene. Defeat of China exposed her weakness, and there began a scramble for concessions among the big powers once more. The impact was there on Japan, on Korea, on overall balance of power, on China. It also demonstrated that Japanese could not maintain Asian military victories without Western sufferance. अब उसके बाद क्या हुआ? Other countries like France, Russia, Germany did not like that treaty. उसने कहा तो बहुत ज़्यादा होगा, जापान इतना पावरफुल कैसे बन सकता है? We don't allow that. So they came together and they forced Japan to modify the treaty. So it came to know Japan is not completely there yet. All the Western powers can collectively come and take away what Japan can earn. So what did they did not allow Japan to enjoy the fruits of the victory. They did not endorse Japanese gains and force the return of the Liaoning Peninsula to China. It made Japan hostile towards them. So peninsula वापस दे दो. Not only the peninsula was given back to China, forced to be given back to China. उसी peninsula में था Port Arthur. Within couple of years, that Port Arthur was given to Russia. The Western powers were not doing it to protect China. उनका अपना स्वार्थ था. And that was like क्या बोलते हैं जख्म पे नमक छिड़कना. So to put salt on injury. Russia leased the same territory with its important naval base Port Arthur from China in 1898. जापान फिर कोई मैंने जीता था अपने लेके आप लेके चले गए उसका आपने युद्ध भी नहीं करा तो रशिया उसको देखना पड़ेगा. So that is the outcome. The victory also proved a tremendous source of prestige for Japan and brought the government much internal support. It also strengthened the hand of military in nationalist affairs. Gradually, with every victory, every conquest, the say of military will become more important inside Japan. We don't study Japan's domestic history, but understand that gradually military is becoming more and more powerful. Domestic affairs and foreign policy especially. जैसे पाकिस्तान का एग्जाम्पल और एक बार सुन लो. पाकिस्तान की जो इंडिया पॉलिसी है उसमें सिविलियन गवर्नमेंट हैज नो रोल टू प्ले. हम जानते हैं वॉट प्राइम मिनिस्टर जो कोई हो कितनी भी बात करे कुछ नहीं कर सकता, दिखावा है. एंड कंप्लीट इंडिया पॉलिसी एंड अफगानिस्तान पॉलिसी ऑफ पाकिस्तान इज ऑलवेज एंड ऑलवेज कंट्रोल ओनली एंड ओनली बाय पाकिस्तानी मिलिट्री. राइट. सिमिलरली हियर द फॉरेन पॉलिसी केम अंडर कंट्रोल ऑफ जापानीज मिलिट्री. रूसो जापानीज वॉर दूसरी बात आ गई. रूसो जापानीज वॉर की. Reluctant to accept Japanese leadership, Korea instead sought Russia's help. Korea was still independent. Korea is not colonized or annexed yet. Only thing is that inside Korea now, Japan, China has got parity and Japan rather has become more powerful. Korea परेशान क्या करे, चलो किसी तीसरे को ले आते हैं. तो Korea sought help of Japan. During Boxer Rebellion, Russia occupied southern Manchuria. Boxer Rebellion क्या है हम देखेंगे बाद में. It was an internal revolt inside China against the foreigners. Boxer Rebellion, Russia occupied southern Manchuria, thereby strengthening its links with Korea. Now, what is southern Manchuria? आपको मैप दिखाने पड़ेंगे. तो दिस पार्ट इज southern Manchuria. ठीक है. तो यहाँ से रशिया आ रहा है, यहाँ से जापान और यहाँ से चाइना. Russia occupied southern Manchuria, thereby strengthening the links with Korea. Japan was concerned by Russian penetration into Manchuria and Korea, for it stood as a stumbling block on her road to supremacy. तो जापान ने कहा कि चलो एक न्योता देता हूँ रशिया को, let us have some kind of treaty. So रशिया ने कहा काहे की treaty? Russia treated Japan with extremely racist inferiority and superiority complex. उसने कहा कि भाई हमारे एक बड़ा famous statement है कि if our soldiers go and just throw our caps on them, the yellow people will run away. और टोपियां फेंकेंगे तो भाग जाएंगे वो, उनकी क्या औकात. That was the racial arrogance of Russia. कौन रशिया? ये ज़ार है. We have seen this war already in 1905 because that war led to the first revolution in Russia. 1905 उसके पहले वाली बात है. ठीक है. तो हुआ ये, रशिया did not agree to any kind of negotiation. It was in arrogant state कि we are superior white people. हमको क्या हराएंगे, हम जो चाहे कर सकते हैं. ये तो एशियंस है, येलो फीवर. तो उस केस में एक गजब चीज होती है दैट देयर वाज अ ट्रीटी बीइंग साइंड बिटवीन ब्रिटेन एंड जापान एट दैट टाइम. व्हाई? इट इज बिकॉज ऑफ अ कंप्लीट नेशनल सेल्फ इंटरेस्ट ऑफ ब्रिटेन. ब्रिटेन एट दैट टाइम इज इन द competition with Russia for over 100 years called Great Game. We'll see the Great Game in modern India. Great Game कुछ नहीं था. It was just a competition for superiority in Asia. The lots of Asia, especially the Middle Asia, Central Asia, Tibet, etc., were not occupied by any country. तो वहाँ पहले कौन जाए, इसके लिए कंपटीशन शुरू हो गई थी between Russia and Tsarist Russia and Victorian England. And that competition ultimately led to occupation of maximum of the territory. तो बहुत डिस्ट्रेस था बट रशिया एंड ब्रिटिश. तो ब्रिटिश ने कहा अच्छा बेटा तो वहाँ पे फैलेगा, वहाँ पे जाके यू आर गेटिंग मांचूरिया, ओके आई विल ट्राई टू पुट अ स्पैनर इन योर ग्रोथ. तो मैं तेरे दुश्मन को दोस्त बना दूंगा. इट्स टिपिकल चाणक्यन आइडिया. ठीक है. तो ब्रिटेन वेंट आउट ऑफ द वे and supported Japan that if you do something, I will help you. Don't worry. Please be aggressive. Now, this was unprecedented in history of Britain. Also, Britain had not signed a treaty with any such power with equality in hundreds of years. कभी नहीं किया ब्रिटेन ने. Such kind of treaties were signed only amongst white people, only amongst Europeans, never with non-Europeans. उनको तो दबा कुचला जाता था. So Britain signed the treaty, and that led to Japan becoming more ambitious. In the treaty, it was said that if there is some war happening between Japan and Russia, तो रशिया को कोई हेल्प नहीं करे, इस गारंटी हम देते हैं. देयर विल बी नो अदर यूरोपियन पावर हेल्पिंग रशिया. फियर ये था फ्रांस शायद करेगी. तो इफ फ्रांस सपोर्ट्स रशिया, ब्रिटिश विल स्टॉप फ्रेंच फ्रॉम डूइंग सो. So Japan can take care of Russia at its own. That was the overall sar of the treaty. So England too disapproved the Russian designs in Asia as it might run counter to her own interest in British Indian Empire. The common interest of Japan and England brought about the Anglo-Japanese alliance. This alliance provided that Britain would help Japan in the eventuality that France helped Russia. Backed by Britain, Tokyo was prepared to take a firmer stand against Russian advances in Manchuria and Korea, which ultimately led to the Russo-Japanese War. तो पहले क्या हुआ? First thing, to get control of Korea, China was defeated in 1895, and after 10 years, 10 साल की मशक्कत के बाद, Russia is also defeated. That was unprecedented. China तो ठीक है, it was East Asian, Japan was also East Asian, but Russia was a white country. Although अजगर की तरह है रशिया, उसका बस एक चौथाई मुंह का हिस्सा जो है गले के ऊपर का, वो यूरोप में है, पूरा शरीर एशिया में है. वो तो खुद को समझता है कि मैं यूरोपियन हूँ, पता नहीं क्यों. बट एनीवे, सेम लाइक ऑस्ट्रेलिया. ऑस्ट्रेलिया की हिस्ट्री पर ऑस्ट्रेलिया इज डिस्टाइंड टू बी डिवाइडेड इनटू एशियन ज्योग्राफी एंड यूरोपियन एथनिसिटी. बट एनीवे, so we have Russo-Japanese war happening in which Japan roundly defeated Russia, and nobody expected this to happen. Russia ने एक हड़बड़ी में sent a big naval fleet halfway across the world from Baltic to East Asia. उस नेवी को भी जापान ने खत्म कर दिया. So this war happened not only on land but also on the sea, and at both level, land and sea, Japan defeated Russia very easily. Tsar was forced to sue for the peace. That had disastrous impact on domestic affairs of Tsar. There was first Russian Revolution. There was also implication on British. We have discussed that also, that पूरा European समुदाय जो है got angry on Britain कि how can you sign treaty of equality with Japan and encourage these yellow people? आपके साइन करने की वजह से वो इतना गुस्सेल हो गया. तो यू शुड नो, ब्रिटिश को भी लोगों ने ठहरा कि भाई आपकी गलती है. बट एनीवे, you have that thing. In this treaty, especially after Russia's defeat, the war could have gone out of hand by Japan becoming more aggressive and capturing more regions. To stop that, a new player comes into picture, that is America. At that time, the American president is Teddy Roosevelt or Theodore Roosevelt. He says, I will mediate, मैं दोनों का सुलह करा दूंगा. So Roosevelt comes into picture because he is afraid that nobody should be more powerful than me. So let me settle that crisis. He actively played peace, and therefore we had treaty in Portsmouth, which is in US. So in 1895, the treaty's name was Shimonoseki. After defeating China in 1905, after defeating Russia, treaty is Treaty of Portsmouth. ठीक है, समझ में आ रहा है? In that treaty, what happened? It gave Japan primacy in Korea. Russia was forced to recognize Japan's paramount political, military and economic interest in Korea. अब कोरिया पूरा आ गया कंट्रोल में जापान. Russia granted to Japan its economic and political interest in southern Manchuria also, including the Liaoning Peninsula जो जापान ने पहले लिया था, like उसी के अंदर था पोर्ट आर्थर. And Russia also ceded to Japan southern half of the island of Sakhalin. जो डिबेट अभी चलता है साखालिन किसके पास रहेगा. So with this, everybody was happy कि भाई चलो सुलह कर लिया है. So analysis. The victory of Japan over Russia shattered the myth of Western invincibility and paved the way for the emergence of Japan as one of the leading powers of the world. So it is always said in a very blinkered history nonetheless that this defeat of Russia was the first defeat of any European power by any Asian power in hundreds of years. उसके पहले जो फेमस इंसिडेंस है वो आता है 18th सेंचुरी में इन केरला, इन द बैटल ऑफ कोलाचिल। मार्तंड वर्मा डिफीटेड डच। उसके 200 साल तक बाद में हमेशा यूरोपियन सुपीरियर रहे हैं, एंड में जाकर जापान ने उनको हराया। इट वॉज द मिथ ऑफ यूरोपियन इन आर्म्स इनविंसिबिलिटी वॉज फाइनली shattered. Then the victory of Russia altered the balance of power in East Asia. Japan emerged to be more powerful. Japan's rise as a world power then brought her into a bitter rivalry with US, whose capitalistic interest in the Far East were threatened. तो US को लगा कि ये तो नहीं चलेगा. That's why US entered and ensured the mediation between the two countries and forced Russia to sign the Treaty of Portsmouth. For that kind of negotiation, Teddy Roosevelt was given Nobel Peace Prize. You know that. Teddy Roosevelt had two kind of negotiations with Japan. On one hand, the Treaty of Portsmouth. On the other hand, that thing that Vicky had asked me recently, and that is also mentioned in the NCERT, Gentleman's Agreement. I did not know much about that, but बाद में मैंने पढ़ा उसके बारे में. So Gentleman's Agreement is nothing but a kind of agreement between two countries, जहाँ पे it is not legally sanctioned, it is understood. You are gentleman, I am gentleman, मान के चलेंगे, चलो legally enforced हो ना हो देखा जाए. एज ए जेंटलमैन। एंड उसमें क्या था, उसमें यह था कि द जापानीज ऑन देयर साइड टेक केयर दैट दे विल नॉट सेंड मोर जापानीज टू अमेरिका, एंड अमेरिका ऑन इट साइड टेक केयर कि जो जापानीज यहाँ पे आ चुके हैं उनको हम ज़्यादा परेशान नहीं करेंगे, विल नॉट ट्रीट देम इन इंफीरियर वे। इट वॉज जेंटलमैन्स एग्रीमेंट, वो भी रूजवेल्ट ने किया, बट मोर इंपॉर्टेंट देन दैट इज दिस कॉन्टेक्स्ट ऑफ ट्रीटी ऑफ पोर्ट्समाउथ, जिसके बाद जापान गॉट कंप्लीट क्लेम ओवर कोरिया। Then it encouraged nationalist movements in India and Middle East, because in India also it is a time when you have the rise of extremists, and extremists feel कि अच्छा one Asian country can defeat European country, तो हम क्यों नहीं कर सकते, because European myth of superiority is now shattered. The war was extremely costly in Japanese lives and treasure at home. Japan's failure to gain the indemnity to pay for the heavy war cost made the treaty unpopular. तो उल्टा हो गया जापान के अंदर, although they got control of Liaoning Peninsula, they got control of a complete Korea, even southern Sakhalin Island, अंदर it became unpopular because war का खर्चा कौन निकालेगा, वो भी आपको रिपेरेशन लेने चाहिए, यही बात है ना, जर्मनी was supposed to pay reparation treaty of Versailles, वही बात चल रही है, but that led to further delegitimization of civilian government which signed the treaty, and military was more aggressive, हमेशा extreme वाले right and left दोनों, they start to become more influential in such scenario, and then ultimately it led to annexation of Korea. Japan and Korea made one. After 1905, Russians were out of Korea. Japan did not treat Korean with respect and equality, rather it tried to suppress Korean rights. They sent one very famous person who is like a great political actor in entire Meiji Restoration. His name was Ito Hirobumi. I talked about him, Ito Hirobumi. Ito Hirobumi was sent to Korea as an resident to look after things. उसने देखा, उसने और नए कानून लाए, उसने और कोरियन किंग को सप्रेस किया, इवन मेड द कोरियन किंग टू एब्डिकेट द थ्रोन। अंत में जाके इतो हिरोबुमी को असैसिनेट किया गया। व्हेन इतो हिरोबुमी वाज असैसिनेटेड, जापान बोले कि इनफ इज इनफ, अब कोरिया इंडिपेंडेंट रहेगा नहीं, कोरिया इज आवर सब्जेक्ट, कोरिया इज आवर पार्ट। सो अल्टीमेटली कोरिया वाज एनेक्स्ड इन 1910. So what started in 1880s with a treaty with China कि आप आर्मी भेजोगे तो हमें बताना, हम भेजेंगे आपको बताएंगे, तो लगभग 15-20 साल लगे to defeat one power, defeat another power and then capture Korea. It was a long term plan. Independent country. Now Korea is independent country. Rather there is no single Korea, two Koreas now, South Korea, North Korea. ठीक है. So by 1912, when the Meiji Emperor died, Japan had not only achieved equality with the West but also had become the strongest imperialist power in East Asia. So first element of Japanese imperialism was ultimately the conquest of annexation of Korea. ठीक है, that is clear. That is one thing. Now you come to the second stage. What happens in the second stage? 21 demands on China during World War I. Now Japan feels very confident and powerful. बहुत हो गया, अब हमारे पास ताकत है। वर्ल्ड वॉर 1 का मौका उठा के जापान ने कहा चाइना को, तो ये भी हमें दे दो, वो भी हमें दे दो। So during World War I, Japan fought on the Allied side but limited its activities to seizing German possessions in China and in the Pacific. Shantung, or as we call Shandong. Shandong पता है आपको कहाँ पे है? I hope you know थोड़ा सा ज्योग्राफी. तो यहाँ पे और यहाँ पे क्या है? बीजिंग एंड शंघाई. आई होप यू नो दैट. बीजिंग एंड शंघाई, इसके बीच वाला जो ये वाला पार्ट है, दिस इज शांतोंग और शैंडोंग. दिस इज अ प्रोविंस. ठीक है, तो आपने कोरिया ले लिया, तो नेक्स्ट आपने ये पेनिनसुला भी ले लिया, यहाँ पे पोर्ट आर्थर भी आपने ले लिया. वेरी नेक्स्ट स्टॉप इज दिस ओनली, एंड देन ऑन दिस साइड दिस पार्ट दैट इज मांचूरिया. तो पहले शैंडोंग की बात होगी, फिर मांचूर की बात होगी. सो वी आर गोइंग फ्रॉम हियर इन टू डायरेक्शंस नाउ. ठीक है. सो with the outbreak of World War I, Japan ने कहा, let me take the full advantage of my power and I will conquer. Shandong was under German control. It was German sphere of influence. जापान ने कहा मैं जर्मनी के खिलाफ हूँ, मैं उसको ले लूंगा. बट चाइना वॉज एक्सपेक्टिंग कि भाई ये तो गलत बात है यार, हमें वापस दे दो शैंडोंग. सो इन द पेरिस पीस ट्रीटी चाइना रिक्वायर्ड कि भाई जापान ने ले लिया है, अच्छा किया है, जर्मनी को हराया, बट नाउ गिव इट बैक टू अस. एंड इट वॉज सपोज टू हैपन बिकॉज obviously Paris Peace Treaty based on Wilson came with idealism. One of the idea was self-determination, so it should have gone to China. But like the mandate system that was created in the Ottoman zone, which went to Britain and France, similarly here also Shandong did not go to China. It was given to Japan. जापान ने अपनी ताकत दिखाई थी. You have to be, आंखों में आंख डाल के जब तक आप नहीं दिखोगे आपको इज्जत नहीं मिलेगी. इट्स अ टिपिकल बेसिक रियलिस्टिक अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ दिस पावर्स, जापान एंड चाइना, विद देयर एक्सपीरियंस ऑफ यूरोपियन कॉलोनाइजेशन. हमारे यहाँ हम उस तरह बात नहीं करना समझते हैं, बट उनका हार्ड पावर एक्सपीरियंस रहा है जापान का, कोई हम शैंडोंग लेंगे, खत्म. सो चाइना sought its return, but Japan responded with the notorious 21 demands that tried to pressure China into widespread concessions. So हुआ ये कि चाइना ने कहा आपने जीत लिया है, थैंक यू वेरी मच, गिव इट बैक टू अस नाउ. तो जापान केम बैक विथ वेरी एक्सट्रीमली नोटोरियस 21 डिमांड्स कि आप हमें ये दे दो, हमें वो दे दो, वरना हम आपको भी हरा देंगे. So Chinese succumbed to many demands and was virtually reduced to become a protectorate of Japan. It led to permanent enmity between Japan and China. It created anti-Japanese nature of modern Chinese nationalism. And these 21 demands were so हमें मांचूरिया भी दे दो, हमें वो दे दो, हमें ये दे दो. So that becomes of such an extreme level where it was called as kind of Monroe Doctrine of Asia. We know Monroe Doctrine. किसने दिया था? Monroe ने दिया था. In case of America, यूरोपियन स्टे आउट. सो अमेरिका का एक छोटा वर्जन यहाँ पे निकला. जापान ने कहा 21 डिमांड्स, सो ऑल दिस यूरोपियन पावर स्टे आउट, दिस इज आवर स्फीयर ऑफ इन्फ्लुएंस. एंड इसके अंदर चाइना आता है, इट इज सपोज टू बी बीनीथ अस. तो चाइना ने एक्सेप्ट फॉर साइनिंग अवे इट्स फॉर्मल सोवरेनिटी हर चीज़ को मान लिया. तो जापान टुक एडवांटेज ऑफ वर्ल्ड वॉर I ऑल्सो टू एक्सपांड इवन फर्दर एंड कैप्चर शैंडोंग. नॉट ओनली शैंडोंग, कैप्चर लॉट्स ऑफ राइट्स विद इन चाइना. So now China is getting colonized gradually by Japan, completely thoda. So then worries in the West, disarmament conference Washington DC 1921-22. अब अगर ये होता है तो America got even more worried. To reduce the influence of Japan, USA eventually compelled Japan to sign a Treaty of Washington in 1921. In that treaty, US called many European powers just to say कि जापान को कंट्रोल करना है. जापान couldn't do much. जापान had to कि US बड़ा दादा है, ये छोटा दादा है. तो इन दैट डिसआर्ममेंट कॉन्फ्रेंस वी डोंट, अब इसको याद मत रखना, ये मैंने ऐसे लिखा, आपको जानकारी हो क्या होता है. दिस ट्रीटीज आर नॉट टू बी रिमेंबर्ड, डोंट वरी. सो यू हैव 4 पावर पैक्ट, 5 पावर नेवल लिमिटेशन ट्रीटी, एग्रीमेंट ऑन द फोर्टिफिकेशन ऑफ द पैसिफिक आइलैंड, 9 पावर पैक्ट एटसेट्रा. मतलब क्या है? चाइना को प्रोटेक्ट करो, जापान की मिलिट्री कंट्रोल करो, नेवी कंट्रोल करो, उनके मिलिट्री इंस्टॉलेशंस को कंट्रोल करो, लिमिट करो. सो ऑल डिफरेंट पावर्स ऑफ यूरोप केम टुगेदर टू लिमिट द ग्रोथ ऑफ जापान at every strategic level and military level, and that was all achieved at the behest of US in a specifically called conference called Disarmament Conference in Washington DC. अब ये शब्द कहाँ पे आया disarmament? हमने अभी recently देखा है when we studied League of Nations that only 2 countries were forced to get disarmed, Germany and Japan. जर्मनी हारने की वजह से एंड जापान जीतने की वजह से. But on both of these, it was legally binding. ऑन ऑल अदर कंट्री इट वॉज लाइक एथिकली मॉरली होप्ड कि इस पर लोग अपने हथियार डाल देंगे, नहीं हुआ. So Japan subsequently agreed to retire from Shantung. This is Shantung. In 1925, a treaty with Soviet Union extended recognition of the USSR and ended active hostilities. Japanese army withdrew from Siberia also and North Sakhalin also. So after that, there was separate treaty with Russia. Japanese army वहाँ से भी withdraw कर दी. Nonetheless, whatever were the gains of Japan in World War I, they were taken away from Japan. But that does not mean Japan became less powerful. It remained to be very powerful and imperial. So thus by mid-20s, Japan's great surge forward in Asia and Pacific had ended. तो उनके पास कोरिया तो आ गया, बट ना मांचूरिया है, ना शांतुंग है, ना साखालिन है. उनको कंट्रोल कर दिया गया. वाई? बिकॉज यूएस ने कर दिया. यूएस डिड इट ट्वाइस. फर्स्ट एट द एंड ऑफ वर्ल्ड वॉर वन एंड सेकंड अगेन ड्यूरिंग वर्ल्ड वॉर टू. This brought hope that a new quality of moderation and reasonableness based on the absence of irritating reminders of inferiority and weakness might characterize Japanese policy. कि भाई आपको थोड़ा दिया है, थोड़ा निकाल दिया, रखो खुश रहो. But it did not happen. Then there was a gap of a few years in between, and then suddenly we have next phase, the third phase of Japanese imperialism. By this time, the military has become even more powerful within Japan, and they are more aggressive, and they are continuously clamoring for aggression. So Japan starts invading China. Japan invades China twice at this point of time. First in 1931 and then in 1937. And in both, first of all, they try to capture Manchuria. So this is Korea, this is Japan, this is Shantung. They finally capture Manchuria. And they start going forward. So when they capture Manchuria, it leads to a huge crisis. This crisis is happening in interwar years. It is at the same time when Hitler has captured Germany. 1931, जिस समय हिटलर पावर में आता है, उसी साल एक दो साल आगे पीछे में ये सब हो रहा है on the far east. The moment Japan goes and captures Manchuria, the issue goes into League of Nations, because it is League of Nations we have discussed which was supposed to mind over all these things. League of Nations, as I also discussed, the first point of the League of Nations advantage was it could intervene into global issues, not only European issues. The first and the major global issue for League of Nations was Manchurian crisis. So France and Britain came together to say League of Nations के through कि भाई जापान वापस चले जाए. जापान ने कहा नहीं जाऊंगा. I will not leave Manchuria. I will leave League of Nations itself. And then after that, British and French were not able to do much. That actually became one of the major reasons of the failure of League of Nations. Its hollowness was indicated for the first time in Manchurian crisis in 31-32. That emboldened other people. That shown one thing, that when it comes to the great power, League of Nations is not very powerful. It cannot compel them to listen. Secondly, since Britain, okay, we have a question by Sudeep Biswas. Since Britain joined Disarmament Conference, what happened to Anglo-Japanese Treaty? It was superseded. I think I mentioned that point here. शायद कहीं मैंने first point लिखा था. So 4-power pact replaced the Anglo-Japanese alliance. It was superseded. Anyway, the point is, League of Nations failure in the Manchurian crisis indicated that in big powers aggression, they are not able to do anything. They can be sidelined. So it became hollow. It lost its prestige. Therefore, in next 3 years, in 34-35, Mussolini was able to invade Ethiopia with complete impunity. ठीक है, तो पहला the first major crisis of League of Nations where it failed in the solving some international situation was Manchurian crisis. ठीक है, Manchurian crisis also led to some economic problems. ये तो political होगा. Economically, Japan became very powerful, but to control Manchuria, it poured in more and more resources. It got sucked in building railway, securing installations. So ultimately, उसका अपना spiral बन गया. And Japan was forced to invade China further. यही होता है sunk cost fallacy. आप यहाँ गए तो उसको और थोड़ा आगे, तो और थोड़ा आगे जाना पड़ता है आपको. So we have China continuing to next level. That in 1937, Japan invaded China again. League of Nations advised the member nations to impose military sanction on Japan. This was, however, never implemented. Ultimately, what happened? Japan is trying to conquer China. We will see China's story from the other side next time, but don't worry. जापान सडनली सीज कि भाई मौका आया है, वर्ल्ड वॉर 2 चल रहा है, लेट मी डू समथिंग, लेट मी कैप्चर some ports of America also. So we have Pearl Harbor happening. But in Pearl Harbor, Japan got initial success. Japan got initial success, but it mismanaged. उसका पहला टारगेट ये था कि इन वन सिंगल अटैक स्वीपिंग अक्रॉस ऑल द मेजर आइलैंड्स अंडर अमेरिकन कंट्रोल उनके साले नेवर एयरक्राफ्ट कैरियर खत्म कर दो. बट बिकॉज मेनी ऑफ द एयरक्राफ्ट कैरियर्स वेर आउटसाइड ऑन सम पेट्रोल ड्यूटी, वो डॉक में थे ही नहीं, तो सारे नहीं डिस्ट्रॉय किए गए. एंड दीज आर द एरिया एयरक्राफ्ट कैरियर्स ओनली विच लेटर ऑन हेल्प अमेरिका टू डिफीट जापान. But anyway, Japan initially airstruck Pearl Harbor, American naval base, and several British establishments in Asia were important events of Second World War. In retaliation, ultimately we will see the details of World War II later on. हम उसकी कहानी थोड़ी देखेंगे. What we have something called island hopping policy. After that, America came back and destroyed Japan. So America stopped Japan once more. This is the basic story. ठीक है, इसमें कुछ ज़्यादा Japanese imperialism was thus eventually contained by the USA completely. Simple. ठीक है. So first thing is the reasons for the Japanese imperialism 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, starting from the very roots of Meiji Restoration. The second thing is the overall story of defeat and annexation of Korea, within which first of all you defeat China and then Russia. In defeat of China, you go for Treaty of Shimonoseki. In defeat of Russia, you go for Treaty of Portsmouth, where America comes into picture. ठीक, and that contains Japan थोड़ा सा. And then we have World War I, in which Shantung was got from Germany. China asked for a thing, return. It's a 21 demand. Now America again gets into picture, and we have a naval disarmament conference. Then we come to third phase, where we have Manchurian crisis and the problem of League of Nations. In the fourth phase, America enters after Pearl Harbor and destroys Japanese city. ये पूरी 4 फेज की कहानी ऑफ जापानीज इंपीरियलिज्म है. नॉट दैट डिफिकल्ट. व्हाट वी हैव नॉट डन हियर इज नॉट सीन पैरेलली इवॉल्विंग स्टोरी विच इज इंट्रिकेटली कनेक्टेड टू इट, बट हैपनिंग इनसाइड जापान. जापानीज डोमेस्टिक स्टोरी हम नहीं देख रहे, वो अपने काम की नहीं है. ठीक है, इजी. ओके, वी हैव डन 1 hour स्टोरी. विल स्टॉप हियर. नेक्स्ट लेक्चर विल बी अबाउट मुसोलिनी एंड हिटलर एंड वर्ल्ड वॉर 2. ठीक है, आज दिवाली है, ये रुकेंगे. कैन ग्रेट डिप्रेशन बी टर्म्ड एज कॉज बिहाइंड इनएबिलिटी ऑफ लीग ऑफ नेशंस? ग्रेट डिप्रेशन वाज वन ऑफ द रीजंस, नो डाउट, बट मोर देन दैट इट वाज द अनविलिंगनेस ऑफ ब्रिटिश एंड फ्रेंच टू इंटरवीन एंड फोर्स द एक्सेप्टेंस. ठीक है, अब वो अनविलिंग क्यों थे, उनके 10 कारण हो सकते हैं. ओके, सो फ्रॉम नेक्स्ट वीक वी हैव लिटिल बिट ऑफ अ चेंज. The first 3 days will be taken by Vishal sir and next 3 days will be taken by me. हाँ, गुरुवार शुक्र शनिवार मैं लूँगा, सोमवार मंगलवार बुधवार विशाल सर लेंगे. एंड दैट विल कंटिन्यू फॉर एवरी वीक नाउ ऑनवर्ड्स. हमेशा के लिए ऐसे ही होगा. मेरे दूसरे 3 दिन होंगे. दैट इज वन थिंग. एंड सेकेंडली, कल और परसों 2 दिन क्लास बंद रहेगा क्योंकि वी डोंट हैव एनीबडी टू ऑपरेट द क्लास एंड ऑपरेट एनी सिस्टम. तो वी हैव नो, इफ यू वांट वी कैन टेक क्लासेस फ्रॉम होम, जूम पे ले सकते हैं चाहो तो, बट क्लासरूम खोलना मुश्किल हो जाता है बिकॉज एवरीबडी वांट्स टू गो होम. सो राइट नाउ वी हैव अनाउंस 2 दिन का हॉलीडे. ठीक है, अगले संडे पेपर इज रेडी. अगले संडे आपकी टेस्ट होगी. ऑफलाइन सेंटर पे आना है, संडे के लिख सकते हो. इफ यू वांट टू राइट ना, सिर्फ मेरा तो वो अलग टेस्ट है फिर वो. अच्छा, मेरी बात अभी तक हुई नहीं है, फिर नहीं हुई अभी तक, कर लेंगे बात. फिर आई मॉडिफाई द पेपर, नो प्रॉब्लम, वो बोल देंगे. फिर आई टॉक टू यू. आई हैड नो आइडिया. अच्छा, ठीक है, चलो फिर लंबा पेपर कर लेते हैं. नो प्रॉब्लम, नो प्रॉब्लम. डन, परफेक्ट, परफेक्ट. ठीक है, तो रिवाइज. ओके, चलो. कनिष्क, वैष्णवी, सुदीप, विकी, हैप्पी दिवाली.